Hello and welcome to Counseling Solutions Podcast. My name is Richard Ellis. I'm your host for today. And part of what we want to do is introduce our staff to you and let you know a little bit about what it is they do so that you can determine whether or not we can be helpful to you. So I'm here today with Jackie. Okay, Jackie, how long have you been on staff at Counseling Solutions?
I've been here since December of last year. Well, not last year, 2015. Make sure I get that right because it's now 2017.
So that's almost
a little over a year.
Little over a year. And what do you do for us at Counseling Solutions?
I work with special need clients. I work with adolescents. I was doing work with the juvenile services. I'm seeing some of their kids over there. I see, I do everything but couples, basically.
Okay.
Veterans, everything.
Tell me a little bit about your training.
Okay, I am an LPC intern. I got my bachelor's degree at Tarleton State University.
Tarleton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I moved over to Texas A&M Central Texas, Warriors, and got my master's degree in counseling and psychology.
Okay, and you passed your test for your licensure.
I did. I'm now working on my full license. I should be done, hopefully, fingers crossed, end of July.
So what's the difference between an intern and a fully licensed professional counselor?
A lot of learning.
Okay. and so you're working on that process.
Yes.
You have to accumulate some hours.
Yes, I do. I have to accumulate 1,500 direct and 1,500 indirect hours.
So what's the difference in those two?
The direct hours is where I'm actually working with clients, either here at the Counseling Solutions or down at Dayzona, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Okay.
And the indirect comes from doing my paperwork and my research on how to actually help the clients.
Okay. And so what kind of clients do you like helping the most? What's your preferred group of clients?
I'm not gonna lie, I love children,
Okay.
adolescents of all kind. I love the ones that seem to be the most trouble, and then we can kind of figure out why there's so much trouble.
Why do you take those tough kids?
I think working at the juvenile center kind of built my heart up for those kind of kids because there were a lot of them were misunderstood. A lot of them were led down different paths that were brought to them due to their environments they were in.
What kind of tough kids?
Oh, you had some that were oppositional defiant disorder. You had that were the Steelers.
Translate that for me.
Okay, those are the ones that they just do not behave. They do act out.
So you know all the time.
Yeah, no, all the time. You don't know what you're talking about. I'm 15 and I know everything. Those kind, but they're the ones that
That's kind of characteristic of a lot of kids, though.
They are, but
at 15, they think they know everything.
Right, but these are the ones that they're the drug users. They think the drugs are the answer. They're the ones that steal not only from other people but from their own families. They're the ones that are actually aggressive. The ones that fight a lot. That's the only way they know how to express themselves is by fighting or arguing. That kind of stuff. So those are my favorite. Yeah, but I've got a soft spot now that I've been over here. Working at Dayzona, I started off as a volunteer and started working with adults with special needs. And I'm finding that I have a great love and passion for those guys over there.
Which of those do you think is going to win out?
I don't know. I'm hoping I can do both.
You probably can.
I hope so.
So what is it about those tough kids that you like?
Just the fact that I guess the point of getting them to break and really realize that they don't have to have that lifestyle, that there are other options out there for them, and getting them to actually realize that they can be better than the environment that they grew up in.
So tough environments?
Tough environments, families that are broken, where they feel like they have to support their family, where there's a lot of bullying that goes on with them when they're younger, and as they get older, they pick up those behaviors, and they're like, well, now that I'm a bigger kid, let me see what I can do.
Where there's lots of violence and bullying and those kinds of things. Yeah. Not just in their environment, but in their family as well.
Families, schools. It's not just always in the house, it's outside
sure.
too. So.
And I ask this question of almost everybody that I get to talk to. How effective can you be with those kinds of kids?
You can, if you listen to them and actually hear what they have to say, you can actually be very effective because 9 times out of 10, that's all they want. They just want someone that's going to listen to them, see where they've been, see what they've been through, and kind of understand.
Show them respect.
Yes. And you actually get that respect back, which is nice because you can see the difference of them, how they respond to people that don't offer that to them.
Sure.
And it's like when you do and you get it back and the other people are like, well, how do they listen to you so well? And it's like, well, I listen to them.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That makes all the difference.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So you love working with those real tough kids.
I do.
What other groups of people? And I'll ask about Dayzona in a minute.
Honestly, veterans, I'm learning. I'm a veteran myself, so some things...
Served in the...
Army.
For how long?
8 years.
And what did you do?
I was a special electronic device repairer, meaning that I worked on a bunch of electronics ranging from radios to mine detectors to night vision.
Wait.
Yeah.
What kind of detectors?
Mine detectors?
I gotta ask. Mine.
Mine.
I thought you said mine.
No.
I thought
Mine.
I don't know what that is. So mine detectors.
Yes, mine.
So you're the person looking for the IEDs.
No, I just fix it so they can find the IDs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So something that you worked on saved some lives, didn't it?
I hope so. Yeah.
Well, that's great.
I think so.
So did you like your time in the Army?
I loved my time in the Army. But as with everything, some things just have to come to an end. I am a mother, and back-to-back deployments did not do well for my family.
Where did you go?
Iraq twice.
Okay. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Okay. So where'd you do your training?
I did Augusta, Georgia. Well, basic I did Jackson. It is an okay basic. And then Gordon for my actual school training, which I loved.
Okay. Where'd you do your master's degree?
Master's I did at Texas A&M, Central Texas.
Okay.
And there's some great professors there. Loved it there.
Great. How long did it take you to do?
Oh, because I was in the military, quite some time. I think about 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, about 4 years.
I was a youth pastor when I was doing mine,
Mm-hmm.
so I tell people all the time I took 3 years to do a 2-year program.
Yeah, mine took 4.
Okay. So let me ask about Daytona. That's one of our things at Counseling Solutions that we are extremely proud of. The work that we do there. Tell folks what we do.
Okay, well, Dayzona is a day and half facilitation that works with adults with special needs. They range anywhere from high to low spectrum autism. We deal with, my mind just went blank on me.
Intellectual disability.
Intellectual disabilities. That's my office manager. Thank you. So we do them all. Cerebral palsy. We have clients that are wheelchair bound. We deal with them. Basically, if they register, they're welcome. So
Okay.
we have,
And how many clients do we have?
right now we have roughly about 37 clients.
Wow.
When I started, we were probably about 20 to 25. And
So it's growing.
we are constantly growing. Every day we're getting people to contact us and say, hey, we're interested. And that is a wonderful feeling.
Great. Do we have any open spaces?
We have about 10 to 15 that we can actually make do for right now.
So we can do a maximum of about 50.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So adults with all kinds of disabilities.
Down syndrome, autism. We see them all. Mhm.
Okay. How did Dayzona get started?
Well, our lady that got us started, her name is Ms. Debbie Mabry.
Okay.
She actually
The
has
boss.
a son that is special needs, absolutely amazing young man. And she came here realizing there was nothing for her son here, and she got with a couple people and got it all started up with 3 clients, I think. So it started with Tyler, and then 2 more joined in, and it went from there. But it started in October 2013.
So it's relatively new.
Relatively new, yes, sir.
Okay. So what's the day-to-day schedule like for our Dayzona clients?
We have clients that can arrive as early as 7:30. From about 7:30 till 9 o'clock is kind of what we allow them to, if they haven't already, they're allowed to come eat, they're have breakfast.
What was breakfast today?
Well, we don't serve the breakfast. They have to eat it before they come.
Oh, they have to eat it before they come.
Yeah, they bring it
Okay.
with them. Tyler's is eggs and bacon.
Eggs and bacon.
And hash browns.
Oh, and hash browns.
Okay.
Yes.
And ketchup.
And don't forget the ketchup. So yeah, the students are allowed to bring their breakfast in there, and they're allowed to eat. It's mostly like a social hour for them, because normally a lot of students don't get there till about 8:15.
Okay.
So it's their social time. They get to talk. They walk around. They talk to the staff. Let staff know about their evening. Some of them don't come every day, so if it's been a few days, we have a lot to catch up on in those days that they were away. From there, 9 o'clock to about 9:30 is kind of like our workout time. We allow them to walk around the building a little bit where they're still socializing, walk around, get their little hearts racing a little
Active.
bit. And then depending on the weather, we go outside and they can play ball. They can do hula hooping. Now that the weather's turning nice, they want bubbles. So we're doing bubbles. And again, it's just a time for them to interact and do different things outside of the building. If the weather is too cold or it's raining, we have dance time. So we put on
Dance time.
Yes, and we have some dancers.
Oh my.
Yes.
I bet it's a stream to watch.
It is amazing to watch. And when the staff actually participates with it, it's even better because they don't expect it.
Next time you have dance time, please call me. I want to come down there and watch.
Okay, just have an
I might even dance a little bit.
Okay.
Probably
They've
not.
got some moves that'll surprise you down there. So they're pretty good. So, yes. And then 10 o'clock we start class time. So from 10 o'clock to about 11 o'clock, they start their education, depending on the classroom they're in, depends on what they start the day with.
So they do some education?
Yes, we are educational.
Give me an idea what the curriculum's like. What do you talk about in their classes?
Well, depending, again, in the classroom, we can discuss anything from number recognition, letter recognition. We practice tracing of the letters and the numbers. We practice our colors. We practice the weather. We talk about the days of the month. Where we just some classes you come in, it's like, okay, what's today's date? They have a little calendar in their room, and they talk about the day of the week. They say the month, what the weather's like out that day, and then it goes into some of the classes start up with spelling words. Some of our higher functioning, they come in and they have words on a board and they start writing the words out.
So how do those kinds of classes help these kinds of clients?
Well, it's basically just trying to make sure that they stay focused. Some of them come straight out of high school and they don't really have anything after that. So when they come here, it keeps them going. Like, it keeps them learning something.
Engaged.
It allows them to keep what they've learned, because obviously if you don't use it, you lose it.
So engagement and retention.
So we teach them social skills, because at the same time, while they're talking amongst each other, we're talking with them. We're working through any issues that they have. Or maybe, they're having a trouble with a picture or a color. We help guide them to recognize.
Are social skills deficits a problem for these folks?
They are, yes. Some of them, do have problems expressing themselves. So we have some that are even nonverbal. So we're learning how to communicate with them. Some of the classes are sign language, so we try our best to get in there when it's sign language time. We're in there trying to learn sign language. Some of them, you can maybe not understand what they're saying, but you get, okay, he's trying to tell me something. Let him take me to where he's trying to show me what's going on. And we have students that will take us to where the problem is, point to it, and we can figure out what it is quickly. Right. So it's just, that social.
So we have class, then we have lunch.
And we have lunch. Lunch is important. Do not be late for lunch.
Absolutely.
That goes from about 11:15 till 12. And then from 12, we start our life skills. That's
so what I got to ask about lunch. What kinds of things do we eat?
Oh, they bring all kinds of stuff. We have home cooked meals. They bring frozen meals. Some of them bring ramen noodles. I mean, it just ranges. Some of them have parents that bring them food during lunchtime. Some students have Taco Bell. That's what they want. So that's what they get.
So they're responsible for their own lunch as well.
They are, except for unless we're having a little special day. So if we're having a Fun Friday, our Fun Fridays are usually the last Friday of the month. And we try and get companies to sponsor us, where they will actually let us either go pick it up or they'll bring food to us. We've had Chick-fil-A, we've had Chipotle, Little Caesars, Subway. That's great. Yeah, so as long as the communities, it's getting there. We're trying to get there.
Good commercial for those agencies. Go patronize them because they help us.
They do. And we've reached out to several, and they've told us how to go out, because some of them, you have to go through certain chains. Sure. So we've reached out to multiple, and they're on board. We just got to get through those chains to get to them.
That's great. Yeah. So the afternoon. After I've had lunch, do I get my nap?
No, not right away. You don't. You actually start life skills. So life skills can be the cleaning. We start cleaning first, so everybody cleans their common area. First is the dining area, which they eat in. From there, it's kind of straightening up the hallways, the bathrooms, making sure that's all taken care of. And then from there, you can do computers. You can go read books. You can have that time. We have a bedroom, which is kind of like set up like a room, and they learn to go make their bed, how to fold clothes, how to put away clothes, all that good stuff. So it's like a life skills time up until about 2 o'clock.
I may need to come to those classes.
Sometimes I think I need them too. So
okay. Well, most of these clients live with their parents or
guardian foster
or guardian and foster parents, and so really what you're teaching them is teaching them how to get along when they go back home.
And while they're at school, because there are times where conflicts do come up, and they've got to learn how to work through it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So the afternoon.
Afternoon, 1 to 2. Like I said, it's they do the cleaning, and then after that, it's kind of just reading,
some free time, things that they're interested in.
They still can't get on electronics or anything like that. It still has to be somewhat of a learning-based type thing. So they usually use that for the computer time.
So everything is, they're not playing video games all the time.
Only on Fun Friday.
Only on Fun Friday.
On Fun Friday.
Yeah, come see us on Fun Friday.
Yeah. We don't do movies either. No movies or anything.
Why is that?
Because you get distracted. They can do that at home. We are here to teach them certain skills.
Yes.
And they all have goals that need to be met. And so our place is for them to meet those goals.
How do you go about setting those goals for an individual
Their
client?
service coordinators or their parents, guardians. Based on if they're already with the government program, those service coordinators will actually already have met with the families. They will have met with us to see what we can do, and they set those goals for those students. And we do what we can to meet those goals.
So it's not just a place for them to hang out, and it's not daycare.
No, not daycare, not at all.
Okay. So, but it's a place for them to learn skills and continue to engage and develop and
Correct.
those kinds of things.
Absolutely, where they can actually go and have a place where they don't feel isolated, where they can actually go and have fun with people and engage with them. And they actually know several of each other, either from church or from Special Olympics, or they just know each other from just being here for so long that they get together outside of here.
So it sounds like it almost becomes a little bit of a family.
It does. It's very nice. And they take you in so quickly. I remember thinking, I was like, okay, I'm not sure about this. And I'm like,
You were a little uneasy at first.
I was, because, I have family members, but at the same time, it's like, it's different coming in and being just kind of exposed to it like that. And instantaneous. I mean, they knew my name, they know stuff about me and my family, and they remember.
And they're probably good observers too, aren't they?
They are. Some of the students know that I'm usually gone by 1 o'clock. So by 12:30, they're telling me, Miss Jackie, you got to go home. And I'm just like, I promise, I'm leaving. And if I'm there after 1 o'clock, Miss Jackie, you're supposed to be home. And I'm just like, okay.
Okay. So tell me about the rest of the afternoon.
Rest of the afternoon, 2 o'clock, majority of our students are picked up. That is the typical time. They're usually, like I said, from 8 to 2. It's about 5 hours of care that's covered. But they are allowed to be there from 2 to 4:30. 4:30 is when we close. But it's very rare that we have a lot of students from 2 to 4:30.
So what kind of difference does this make for the families who bring these special needs young adults? Now, tell me the range in age.
Oh man, we start off at 17. They can still be in high school, but they only come during spring break and summer or long holidays.
Sure.
But they have to be graduated to come full time.
So, and your oldest client?
I think he's like 56, 57. Yeah.
That's not real old.
No, it's not real old. I'm just saying but it's a widespread. That's what I mean. It's like we start off at 17 and it goes all the way up to that.
So tell me how it helps the families of these folks in terms of the care and and not just the care, but the education and the development and the engagement that we provide.
Well, in a way, it kind of gives them, the parents and guardians, a release, because they don't have to sit here and stress about, what is their kid doing? Is their child taken care of? They know that they are someplace safe. They understand that, they're learning something that's going to benefit them down the long road. And at the same time, we have parents come in all the time and be like, oh my gosh, they came home today and they were able to do this, this, and this. And I know that's because they were here. We've had parents come and tell us, like, they changed so much personality-wise just because they were there.
With other people.
With other people. Mm-hmm.
That must make you smile.
It does. I love when the parents come and they're just like, this has been a breath of fresh air. Because, it's just, you have parents who before were having to stay home with their kids because they had no one else to take care of them. And then they find out about us, and now they're steadily getting back into the workplace, or now they're able to actually go and take care of themselves by going to the doctors for themselves. And they're able to put the focus a little bit more on them and know that their child is safe and being taken care of.
So it eases their burden.
It does. Mm-hmm. And that's a good feeling, because you don't want that for anybody.
That's great. So most of our folks leave by 2. They can stay till 4:30.
They can stay till 4:30. Like I said, we have about 5 hours of care that we do, and then after that point, it's called respite care.
You're right.
So that's a different type. But like I said, we only have maybe 1 or 2 that ever stay past the 2 o'clock mark.
What's your favorite thing about Dayzona?
In all honesty, the students. I love them to death.
You do, don't you? You do, don't you?
I do. You never know what you're going to come into that day.
There's a gleam in your eye when you talk about that.
They make my day.
That's great.
Yes, they do. They make my day. So.
Okay. And what's the biggest challenge working at Dayzona?
Probably not maybe understanding everything. Like I said, there's always something to come into. So there's some days where you come in and it's like, okay, we've got to figure out how to handle this. And it's a group effort. It's not just you working on it. You've got to get with the service coordinator. You've got to get with the parent or the guardian and say, okay, look, this is what's going on.
Team approach.
What can we do to make it right? And that can get a little frustrating sometimes, but it always comes out on a positive end note. So
okay.
yeah.
So you plan to stay at Dayzona for a while?
Well, that depends too. Unfortunately, with me getting fully licensed soon, I will have to leave and a new director will have to come in. But hopefully I'll be just moving up the hill and I can do like Crystal does and just go down the hill to visit.
So Jackie is working on her license as a professional counselor. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir.
And so you've done your master's work.
Correct.
You passed your test.
Correct.
And now you're just waiting to accumulate in essence, your residency hours.
Correct.
How many have you done?
I've done close to 1,000 already of direct and close to 1,000 already for the indirect.
So she's only got 1,000 hours left. And how long before you get that done? If you're working at Daytona full time, that's lots of.
Well, it's only part-time, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, about 20 hours a week. I'm, like I said, hopefully by end of July, I'm hoping to be completely done.
End of July 2017.
The clients I see here.
Okay. And so what's your career path after that?
Well, I want to continue working with the group that I do. So it's kind of expanded because before it was just kids. So now it's more of the kids, adolescents, special needs, of course. And I'm just individuals all together. Veterans, I'm learning. Groups, I love doing groups.
Okay.
So I do that as well. The only thing, I probably put the red flag up is couples.
Not your area of interest.
It's not even not an interest. I thought it would be, but it's difficult.
It's difficult work. It is. Can be rewarding, but you have to sort of want to be there, do that, because folks who come for couples counseling, they're here because they've got some challenges.
Yes, absolutely.
And usually those challenges have been long term or long standing, and folks typically don't come for counseling sometimes until it might be too late or you consider it to be too late. Then you have to get in there and plunge in and dive in and fix one thing at a time and hope they can ride it out. So, that's kind of my area of interest.
I'll let you have it.
Okay, that's great. And the children below 5th or 6th grade, you can have those.
I've had from 5 and up. So, yeah. I think as a mother of 4, you kind of learn.
You have 4 children.
Technically I have 5, but yes. Yeah, I've got 5. Yeah.
5? Mm-hmm. 5's a good number. I was 5th. Yeah. So, boys or girls?
A mix. We have 3 boys and 2 girls.
Good. And what are their ages?
Our oldest is 18. Then we have a 13, about to be 14. We have a 9-year-old.
13 about to be 14. Oh, my.
Yeah. Those are my boys.
Yeah.
And then I have...
Doesn't matter.
Well, I worry with my 3-year-old because she acts like she's grown. So my 3-year-old daughter, and then I have a 6-month-old daughter.
Well, congratulations. That's great.
Yeah.
And so want to continue to work with adolescents and families, special needs kids?
Families, special needs, and and of course, my troubled kids.
Okay. What's your favorite thing about counseling?
Knowing that I can make a difference. It's when your clients come in and say to you, I wouldn't be here today if it weren't for something you said to me.
Wow.
Yeah. That's when you're like, okay, maybe I did pick the right path to take. So when those clients come in and make you say, hear that, it's like,
you made a difference.
Yes. And it's a good feeling.
The biggest challenge that you have in being a professional counselor?
Feeling like I'm not doing enough. Where there's times where I come in and it's like, is this really working? And then when you hear them start opening up, it's like, okay, maybe we are on the right path. And then something else comes up and you're like,
not so sure.
Okay, maybe not. Let's try another direction.
How do you know when you're effective with a client?
When you see the positive come over the negative. For me, most of my clients that I see, there's a lot of negativity that take place. And when you come into a session and it's not so negative and you have more positive feedback coming back from them.
At the end.
You see them coming in and they're smiling, or you see that, they're not so emotional, like they're able to talk about what's going on without, the fear and the anger and the just sadness coming through. And it's actually like, I can talk about this now and it doesn't hurt me as much.
Lots of sadness and fear out there, isn't there?
There is. Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So what's your favorite thing about Counseling Solutions?
The people I work with. We have a great group of people here. And I know that if I have questions, I can ask anybody here and they're like, hey, try this. Or have you tried this yet? If I have difficulties with the client, I'm just like, I'm not sure which approach to take. If they're there, they're more likely to be like, well, hey, this is what I did for this, this, and this. Mm-hmm. How about you try that?
Yeah.
And so always willing to talk, even if it's personal stuff. They're just like, hey, what's going on? It's a good group of people.
Is there a niche and area that you're especially interested in with children and adolescents? Any particular disorder or challenge?
Not so much. Right now, I think I'm dealing a lot with the ones that are being bullied a lot. So there's a lot of suicidal ideation going on.
Okay. Translate that. Suicidal ideation?
Meaning that they are either cutting, they've contemplated suicide, that basically it's a strong thought that they are having.
So they're thinking, they have the idea of suicide.
Correct, yeah.
So what do you tell a kid who's got that suicidal ideation?
Well, it's not so much telling. It's more getting them to just kind of realize the more positive things. So it's finding out why they're cutting themselves in the first place or why they're having those thoughts of suicide. Because ultimately, once you get to that bottom of where the issue's coming from, that's where you work through that problem.
Okay.
And then just kind of getting them to see, like, okay, I get this is bad and this is not what you want to happen.
Sure.
What can you do to turn that around?
Sure. And what do you tell a parent who comes in with a child who's cutting themselves or who's expressed a desire to kill themselves? What do you tell that parent?
Listen, because a lot of my clients that come in say, I don't have anybody I can talk to.
Listen.
To listen. The kid is trying to tell you something. You just need to take the time to really listen to what they're telling you.
Well, that sounds so simple, but
it does. But I mean, how many times does a kid come home and say, "Yeah, so and so was picking on me today," and this is what I said, and I went and told the teacher, but the teacher was just
didn't do anything.
Yeah, and I'll talk to him later, or it's okay, he's just playing around. And then the kid turns around and starts hurting themselves, and everybody's like, "I don't understand why it happened," and it's like, well, your kid was telling you. Somebody was messing with him. And today's kids, they can be mean. They can be vicious.
Yeah.
And
do you think that's different than it used to be in, like, my generation?
I don't think so, because I remember growing up and not being the nicest person in the world. I didn't necessarily bully people, but I remember there were bullies out there.
But you teased them, and they teased you.
They did. It was like a mutual kind of thing. But, and even back then, I know there was people that were taking those steps and having those thoughts. But our society now, I think, is a lot more honed in on it, and it's become a very big issue where it's now coming to light. There are, I think, a lot more children now coming out and saying, "Hey, look, I want to hurt myself." But before, it was everybody just kind of pushed it under the rug. And it's just like, oh. So
probably the same amount of bullying, but we just take it more seriously now. And do you think that's the right thing?
I do. I think it needs to be addressed because. I mean, it's one of those things like, do we really want to keep losing our children out there? It's like, these are our kids.
Yeah.
If we're not listening to them, who's to say
and what do you know about the age of kids who can commit suicide? How young does it go?
Okay. I've had a 5-year-old come and talk to me.
Wow.
5-year-old. 5-year-old. Talked about hurting and doing something horrible to herself. And then she changed it up to where she was just like, well, since I can't hurt myself, maybe I can hurt them. And it's like, no, let's not do that either.
Yeah. I think many times we think that it's only adolescents or even into late adolescence where kids, seriously consider hurting themselves. And the statistics don't bear that out. That's just not true. Problems that kids have can start very early. And so as adults and as professionals, if there's an outcry, we need to take that seriously because the last thing we want to do is ignore that and it be a problem or a kid actually end up hurting themselves or maybe even killing themselves, maybe even as young as 5. Mm-hmm. And so that's a little scary.
That was scary. I wasn't expecting that in the session. That was kind of a whoa.
Okay. And for you, what's the most difficult thing about counseling?
Not being able to, feeling like I'm not doing enough.
Feeling like you're not doing enough. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm. How much is enough? I don't always know the answer to that. Yeah.
No, and you don't know. It's just, I think you take it client by client and just go from there with it.
So do you see yourself doing this long term or maybe for the rest of your working life?
I do. I don't see myself doing anything else. Even as a teenager, I remember people used to come to me and talk to me about their problems, but I was like, I'm going to be a teacher.
That happened to you too.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, why are you coming to me? I don't know. But it worked. Whatever I told them, they succeeded in it. So it was like, okay. But
it's kind of been who you are for a long time.
It has been. I just didn't realize it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. That's great. So what would you tell the folks about Counseling Solutions? And by the way, we are the number 3 rated counseling agency in the greater Killeen area. And we're really proud of that, especially because we're a small agency. And so we think we have great folks here who can do an amazing number of different kinds of things to address different kinds of problems. So what would you tell folks about Counseling Solutions?
I would just say we're, like you said, a great group of people to work with. We range from children to old to married to not married to partnerships. I mean, we do families, we do groups relating from domestic violence to sexual trauma. We do DBT here, which is amazing. We have a daytime and a nighttime group for that. Just all around a great place.
We have neurofeedback for ADHD and dyslexia,
EMDR.
and that's brand new. And we have somebody who does EMDR for us,
Exactly.
and that's a great new thing to help with trauma. And so, if you got a challenge, we'd love to visit with you. Call and ask questions, or call and come by. Let us visit with you. And we thank you for watching our podcast today. Hope you have a great day.
Bye, everybody. Have a
Bye-bye.
good one.